Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Good to
Um,
see
would you like to introduce yourself to my massive fan base and
you.
audience out there? I have
Yeah.
one fan apparently. It's my mother-in-law.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm Dottie Escobedo-Frank. I'm a pastor in Tucson, Arizona at Catalina United Methodist Church. And Rob and I have written a book together. And I've written a few other books, but right now my my main focus is being a local church pastor.
Yeah. And overall awesome human being.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
So what's life been like for you the last couple months?
Well, it has been interesting to go from being not home very often. Like I'm always at the church or visiting somebody in the hospital or, yeah, running up to Phoenix for a meeting. Now I'm in my house all the time. And, um, at first it was really hard because there was so much work to transition the church to virtual church to online. That took so much out of us. I remember one day that first week when I was up 17 hours straight, just
Wow.
trying to get everything ready so we were ready for that next Sunday because it all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
And then, now, I mean, last few weeks or so, we've been in a routine. We know how to do church this way. And so um, now I feel like when it first happened, everybody was saying, "Oh, how cool I get to be home and work from home, and how nice it would be." Well, for me, it was not nice because it
Yeah.
was just a lot of work. But now it's like, oh, I can breathe again, and um, it's it's less demanding.
Hmm.
There's many things I can't do that I used to have to do.
Yeah.
Now I want to do, but like I had my calendar planned out through like October. So
Yeah.
I had events that I had to go to. And everything, like in one week, my whole calendar disappeared. There was nothing
Same.
out there for me to travel to. And that was kind of a relief. It was really a relief. And then, I can't visit anybody. I can call people, but I can't go visit them in the hospital.
Yeah.
We've had people die that I can't do a funeral service for. We're postponing them for later. So there's many things that were just part of our regular routine that have been just stripped away. And the main thing we're doing is a whole lot of Zoom meetings now.
Hmm.
And
Thanks for coming to my Zoom meeting, by the way.
sure.
Yeah.
We're doing worship and pastoral care. I
Yeah.
mean, really, those are the focuses. And then some administrative meetings. But yeah, I think I think that as I looked at pastors, myself included, that we were exhausted.
Hmm.
And before this happened, just our lifestyle. And so now I think there's a sense of, oh, this is what it's like to have a weekend,
Yeah.
because
What's
I
it
do
like?
my I
What's
do
it
my
like?
recording on Mondays. And
Oh, that's the key.
my new day off is our days off are Saturday and Sunday. It's just incredible.
I need to convince Melissa to change filming day
Yeah.
because yeah, Saturday becomes filming day, which means edit day for Rob.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's becoming more of a routine and easier, but it's still like,
It's a lot of work.
oh, I've been relaxing most of the day, and then after lunch we switch into production and edit mode, and
Mhm.
making sure everything's uploaded on time or whatever, and then it's like, oh, all my stress is back. Welcome.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I found out, like, this week I haven't done my sermon yet, but because everything is rolling inside of me right now, and I by tomorrow will have it done and recorded.
Mhm.
But what I found is that, and I have to do it early because we have a video editor like you,
Yeah.
but his timeline is Thursday morning, so he can get it done and uploaded to Boxcast. So I just found that, like, once I realized I could do this if I just spend a half day doing my sermon, recording it, doing all the parts of the service. And then like afterwards, I just attend to pastoral care and administration, and the stress is just gone. Like that kind of stuff I can do in my sleep. It's the sermon that always is worrisome.
Yeah.
So yeah, while you can, try to get a few weekends, you two.
Yeah.
I'm not that we can go anywhere, but
Yeah. Figure something out.
yeah.
Yeah. So, one thing I hear a lot of folks talking about during this time is like touching base with or hearing from like old friends or family, like we haven't talked to in a long time. I know for me, that's been true. Just getting some phone calls out of the blue or deciding like, oh man, I'm going to call this person. And that happened. Like I've connected with some cousins that hadn't talked to in years. And that was really cool. Like, has that happened for you? Like,
yeah, the closest folks I have are my brothers and sisters.
mm-hmm.
And I always talked to them before, but it was always like, okay, I have, 2 minutes and then I got to run to the next meeting. Now I sit down, I'm talking to them on the phone. I have no distractions in front of me. I don't have a meeting in front of me. I just take the call. And so the conversations are a lot different. And I really love that. I never want to go back to the other way of rushing through those telephone conversations. I hope I never go back there. Then, out of the blue, like some of my friends where I grew up in Nogales we've touched base, and it's just cool. What happened to us where we lost that? What happened? Dang.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too how like social media, I think was partly to blame for that, in that we could be connected to people, but yet still feel so disconnected. And then I know for me, it's sort of like this only portal or a way to connect with people. And it seemed like there was like a month there, maybe like, hey, look, we're all connecting and creating this new type of community. And then it all just like went to hell, even before the last couple of weeks. But, we just sort of went back to our old ways of like, here's what I ate for dinner, or here's my political opinion. Like, you can go to hell. Like,
yeah.
So I wonder, like, how do you think all this is going to change how we create community with one another?
So a while back, a friend and I wrote this book that kind of talked about what could happen if the church left the church, right?
Right.
Sacred secular, is that the name of it?
We should all get together in public and tight spaces and connect.
I was thinking about that book this week because I was preparing to talk with you, and I was thinking, that book is like the kindergarten version of what's happening to the church right now.
Okay.
Right? Because
wait, are you saying I'm a kindergarten writer?
Well, both of us.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
I mean, we imagined that the church started to happen out there and we would go and join the church. But instead what happened is the church doors shut down, right, and the church that's already out there, which part of it is our own community. They just had to step up and be the church.
Yeah.
And so we had some ideas, but they've taken it to the next level. Like my congregation, they're checking on each other. They're checking on their neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not in control of the church anymore. The church is out there doing their thing.
Right.
And I don't always get to see and hear what they're doing.
Yeah.
But every once in a while I do. And it just reminds me, you can't take the church away even when we can't gather together.
Yeah.
And so you asked how will it change us? I think maybe we'll be less driven and more focused. Mm-hmm. Less driven to do everything.
Yeah.
And more focused to do one or two things and let the church be the church and live like we are now.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to control it.
Yeah.
I think there's a group of people that'll never come back in the same way.
No, I agree.
that really are getting something out of online. And the online that we're doing versus what we did before was just live streaming, so they watched our service. Instead, now it's more close-up faces. It's more participatory for the online folk. And some people would rather do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if I could, what if we could meet once a month in person and all the other times online? I just think there's going to be a section of people like right now, if we get back together soon, maybe our elderly can't come for a while longer.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to do both, and we'll have to still do the production piece that we weren't doing before. So
I had this phrase pop in my head the other day, and I really struggle with like early on there was a lot of leaders talking about, even whether or not you're a pastor or anything else where you were forced to put all your work online, to go from, okay, all of this happens in a physical space and now it has to happen in a virtual space. Like there was still in the physical space, even though it was production, it seemed like it was production for the purpose of creating community, whether we knew that or not. And now, like we've been doing that now for, sometimes it just feels like we produce. Here's this thing, watch it. Here's Rob talking to Dottie on a video for your entertainment.
You're really bored.
Yeah, exactly. You have nothing else to do. Because this is really, for me, this is keeping me from going insane. So
that's really cool.
Yeah. and
I've watched some.
And yeah, and how do you? And I think it's my like answer of like trying to create community in a different way, and it still doesn't replace actual community, which I'm like starving for.
Yeah.
And realizing like, even as much as like I've complained about the institution, the roteness of Sunday mornings and the anxiety, the tyranny of Sundays of, even though I'm not in a pulpit every Sunday, even still just showing up with the kids and dealing with people complaining and whatever else. Like I realized like, oh, there's still something happening there. And I don't want to take that. Not only do I not want to take it for granted when we go back, but how do we enhance that? How do we now change? Now we're not just producing for a once a week experience or going through the motions, but how are we actually using this time, this 1 hour on Sunday morning, as a catalyst for change and a catalyst for community?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things our staff is doing, I'm grateful to have staff, is that every day of the week, Monday through Saturday or so, one of us puts out a little video. So I'm on Wednesday. It's a little like I try to keep mine under 2 minutes. Our choir director talks about, he kind of teaches lessons on singing some days, or some background. Our organist gives background stuff. And people watch that and, little snippets of ways that they can get closer to what we do.
Yeah.
And it's comforting to them because they miss seeing the staff that they're used to seeing.
Yeah.
In some ways, like we the ones that are producing are the ones that are getting. We don't get to see everybody.
Yeah.
We don't have that ability to see other people as much.
But it sounds like there's this like more intimate connection.
Yeah. So anybody can check in on Ben's words, on Dennis, and here's something that he wants to play, and that's the community piece. And I know other churches, we haven't done this yet, they have like a pre-service. It's like a Zoom meeting before worship starts, so they kind of gather in the Zoom narthex and talk to each other for 15 minutes and get to see each other's faces. That's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I think that is one, the community piece is that takes work to build, and in this arena.
We
first
need
one.
it. Yeah. It's more important than ever.
Yeah.
Before we're in transition to another serious topic, but we'll call this the interlude. What are you watching right now?
Oh,
Like
what is that
for
show? Like Sweet Alabama. It's not Sweet Alabama. It's it's only one season. That's what I watched recently.
yeah. I looked at it and I was like, Steel Magnolias. And I'm
Steel
like, no,
Magnolia.
it doesn't say that. It
It's
says
something Magnolias.
Sweet Magnolia. Maybe it's Sweet
Sweet
Magnolias.
Magnolias. Yes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, it's a great show that is so light and fluffy and kind of like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah.
Just for me, it's just like, okay, it's my escape. Take me out
Yes.
there.
Yes. It's the release valve.
I did start watching Epstein one. Ooh.
Oh yeah, I did too. I made it 15 minutes in and I'm like,
Yep.
this is like 6 hours of this?
Yeah.
Like I know
I'm
how
still
that
watching
one
it, but
ends.
it's not easy.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a story that absolutely needs to be told, and at the same time is like, this is heavy, and like the times are too heavy to try to digest that right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't suggest anybody watch it right now, but I think I must be a glutton for punishment because I'm still watching it.
Yeah. Oh no.
There's like some political drama in it, like
oh yeah,
the politicians we know. That's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of heavy subjects in a crazy world, what's your, I guess, how is it with your soul with all that's going on?
You know, I know racism really well. I remember when I first became a pastor, Susie Charlton, or remember her? Anyway, she was a lay leader, wanted me to be on a panel to talk about what you experience as a person of color and how what you go through to try to help train the conference. And I just said no. I said, I don't want to train you. I don't want to bring up that stuff. It's too hard. So why would you train yourself? Basically what I said. That wasn't very good. And now I think, it is so hard to watch that. And my racism, the racism I've received is not, it's a different kind. I am a Mexican woman who lives in a white body.
Yeah.
Most people think I'm white. And so what happens to me is that people say things about Mexicans or Latinos or Hispanics around me, thinking I'm going to agree with them. And so like they freely spout their racism around me. That's been my experience since I was in my 20s. And so it's painful for one. Personally, it's painful. I had, you kind of go through flashbacks of when this person said that, or this person did this, or this family member, just all kinds of things. And all those things wounds heal, but then they can be broken open again. And that's kind of what it feels right now. Yesterday, when I watched, Mr. George be killed on, in front of everybody, I was just thinking, I don't know. I was just in shock.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't know that happens. It's just that it was too much. It's too much to the pain of that. It wasn't just my pain. It was the pain of all of our country, coming down on the neck of a Black man. And so I think I was stunned like numb for a while. And then yesterday when there was that march to St. John's Church with rubber bullets and tear gas to make sure that the way was cleared for him.
Mhm.
It felt like a sci-fi.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think you could have staged better him swinging the Bible around in front of that church. And I was really proud of the bishop of the Episcopalian bishop of that area, and her immediate response. It felt like sacrilege.
Mhm.
So my soul is heavy. I've really hesitated to say much. I say a little bit, but because, yeah. But I do hope that, that our scriptures say what was meant for evil, God can turn for good. And I do hope that God, with our help, that we take this evil moment in our history and we don't let it pass. We make the needed changes we need to make. I mean, look in our church, the United Methodist Church. We're as racist, systematically racist as we can be,
Sure.
but we don't address it. So let's start at home. Start with our church. Start with our families. Start with our histories. Start there, and then work on the systematic changes that need to happen. The policing changes, the who gets thrown in jail changes, the who gets educated, who gets to have food, who gets to live in a food desert. Let's start with all those seemingly minor things that can change a person's life.
Mhm.
We just found out that we could spend a whole lot of money to keep people home. We spent trillions of dollars to keep people home. Well, what if we took another couple of trillion and changed our system and made a system that fiscally endorsed anti-racist structures?
Mhm. How do we take this moment, and it feels like we're in this cycle, this horrible vicious cycle of there's action, there's awareness, there's outrage, calls for change, and then the news cycle ultimately turns over enough times and we sort of slip back to where we were. How do we, and we seem more divided than ever, and you feel like, man, maybe we really are making some progress here. I feel like I can have better conversations with my neighbors, and maybe those I don't agree with, but then other days it just seems like maybe we should give up. Maybe we should stop talking. Like, how do we move forward from here? Like, what's maybe like the next smallest step we could all take?
Well, it depends on which place we are in society. I really think that people who are in positions of power based on their skin color, the best step would be to listen to the other, like listen with an open heart, not just like, yeah, I've heard that before, but to seek. Yeah, don't even ask. Like right now, it's hard to explain the feelings, but seek out in your own way, listening to the other. Like, how many books do you own that are written by people of color? And if 99% of them are not, then make a change and say, I'm only going to read women of color if all my books are men, Anglo men. Do those little things to change yourself.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Systematic change is not that hard. I think well, I shouldn't say it's not that hard. That's not what I mean.
Right.
Little systematic changes can have a big bang for their buck. So
yes. Yeah.
so let's do some little things that change. So like in our church world, what if we said anybody who's in cabinets in all the US
Mhm.
that we have to,
All of our leaders
all of
that,
our leaders around and
yeah,
conference leaders, that we have to have a certain percentage of persons of color, to start there. I mean, we also, it's beyond, it's not just racism, but you know, all the isms. What if we took all the persons of color that are pastors and leading churches and did an audit of our system and said, why did we put all of them in small, tiny churches? What's that about? You know, do an audit. When I was working in a hospital, they did a sexism audit, and I
mm,
got a raise, a huge raise,
yeah,
because in the audit of the whole corporation, they saw that women were paid less, and they just automatically upped their pay. So what if we did stuff like that? You know, those little things give value to people of color. So we just say, no, we're not going to do this anymore. Our system needs to change. We can change some of these little things. So pick a little thing and make it happen. If we
yeah,
all picked a little thing and made it happen, it would, in the system, it would make a big difference.
yeah. I hear a lot like, oh well, we don't know where to find leaders. We don't know where to find folks. And to me, that shouldn't be an excuse. That right there is the indictment, right? Like, we don't know where to find. Oh, wait, maybe we should be asking, why haven't we been creating opportunities and developing and identifying leaders? Like, what's wrong all the way down the line of why don't we have leaders of color? Why don't we have women, for leadership roles? That's not oh, I guess we should. I guess it's not our fault. That's, to me, that's an indictment of, oh, um, this is on us. We need to now examine why we don't have those leaders, or maybe we do have those leaders and we're just not willing to put them in leadership roles.
That's what I think is a problem.
Yeah.
I think they're there and they've been there, and some of them have come and gone,
Mm-hmm.
but they have not been noticed and or valued. If we know they're there, but we don't value them because we
Yeah.
don't understand their culture well, then we just ignore it. And that's a systematic failure of ours,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion.
Yeah. So ignore the first half of my answer. So we'll take the second half.
Well, the first half has merit because
I don't.
any system can shut down people, right?
Yes. Yeah. We shut it down. We shut it down everywhere. So.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think that's I mean, I think our problem, well, okay, I think in the Methodist Church, if we opened our eyes and looked around, we would be amazed at what beautiful people of color are around us that have great leadership capabilities. We would be amazed if we let that happen.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be amazed, but I think some people would.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking to a friend today who I think is one of our most amazing leaders that, and she was saying, I don't feel adequate. I don't feel like I'm there. And, and I said, is that because, one, I don't think that's true. And, who's been telling you that? Or why have we created a system that makes you feel that way? When in a lot of other industries, like you would be being developed as, one of the top leaders. So,
Right.
yeah. All right. Well, we solved all those problems.
Yeah, there's so much I mean, dang, this is a problem that we have lived with since we began, right? And it's not going to happen overnight, but apartheid changed a culture, and I pray that we have such an experience that our culture gets changed.
Yeah.
And that our children don't have to inherit this.
Yeah. Amen.
And grandchildren, that they don't have to do this and watch this and experience this ever.
This is the time of the episode where you get to ask me anything. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Tell us one thing that nobody knows about you, but you wish that everybody would know.
That I wish everybody would know.
Yeah, but
I'm so shy, and I never humble brag about anything.
Oh well.
Did you know that I was the captain of my tennis team in high school?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We
lost every match.
Oh. You learn a lot in losing.
Oh yeah.
Was that in California?
Mm-hmm. Yep, in the Bay Area.
Very cool.
So it was a great experience. Amazing being part of a team, even though we were terrible. In being awful, you learn so much about yourself and about leadership and about working with others. Although losing sucks. So, but I look back on that and think of the resiliency and the sort of a never give up attitude of, it could feel like losing all the time. You're never going to win.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
There were a couple times it was the playoffs one season, and we were just so terrible, but me and my doubles partner, we just I don't know, he became a good friend in high school, and we could never hang with anybody, but the stars all aligned. The odds were in our favor. God was looking down upon us, and we rattled off 3 matches in this tournament, and we got to, I don't want to say it was the semifinals, but I'm pretty sure it was the quarterfinals, and we played the doubles team. They were twins, and they ultimately won the district championship or whatever it was called back then, and we won the first 3 games.
Wow.
We had come up with this strategy of okay, I had a serve, that was the one thing I could do is serve. And then we just had these other little strategies of okay, we're just going to do this over and over and over again. And we were driving these guys nuts. And then finally, they took a timeout, and they were so pissed off. And we were man, maybe we could do this. And they were clearly smarter than us and knew the game of tennis way better than we did. And they were oh, okay, this is how we break their strategy. So they switched something up, and I don't think we won another point. We lost, that's it, 6-3, and then we lost 6-0.
They were able to read your strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. But.
Well, you're still a good strategic thinker.
Yeah. I try. I try. All right. Closing segment. Do you have a word of hope for everybody out there?
I do. Every morning we get up and it's morning. Every morning you get up and it's morning. It's not night. It's morning. And sometimes I go to bed and I think I am so tired. I'm going to sleep in, but I wake up at the same time and I'm so refreshed, and God just made us in that way where every day is a new day. And we're learning something right now as a world and as a country, and we're learning about our sins, and we're learning how to ask for forgiveness and how to change things. But tomorrow's another morning, and we can continue to fight together or work together or march together or stand for each other, stand beside each other every day. Even when we're exhausted and go to bed, then the next day we can do it again. And so because of that cycle, I think God put that hope in us that we keep going on. And as long as we breathe, as long as we walk, as long as we talk, as long as we keep turning to God, there's hope. There's still hope.
Amen. I love that. We always have tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah.
No matter what happened today,
Yeah.
we get to get up and we get another chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's grace.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, good job, Pastor.
Hey.
Well, this was awesome. Thanks for talking. Just so everybody else knows out there watching this, Dottie, you're like one of my like heroes of faith and a mentor, and you and Jim have become good friends. And I cannot wait to come over with the kiddos and make some pizzas again.
There we go.
That's the real reason it comes out.
I know. I make a mean taco too. Maybe we'll do that.
Oh, can we have pizza and tacos?
Yeah. The kids weren't impressed with the pizza, as I recall. Were they liked cheese only?
I think they like no. Colby will put anything on them.
Oh, okay.
You can feed that kid anything. Yeah, but and when they don't like to eat stuff, then that means I get to eat it. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Yeah. Well, we'll make that happen one way or the other.
Okay. Pizza and tacos coming soon.
Yes.
All right, friend.
Good to see you.
Take care.
Say hi to Melissa
I will.
and the boys.
Well, bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to end this. Bye.